Terrence James, and you're watching another episode of Neutral Reviews, where we do real reviews for real decisions. And today we are looking at the KIA Carnival, and I have borrowed the keys for this vehicle from London Kia that has a fantastic location, welcoming atmosphere, and who also offers some of the most attractive and well-priced vehicles on the road today, including this one. Well, you go to the carnival if you want to be surrounded around screaming children, having fun and playing, and the smell of popcorn and cotton candy and hamburgers and hot dogs, or to be surrounded around stuffed animals and games, or where you have to hose down at least one of the seats before someone else can take a ride. But you go to this carnival if you're ready to make the wise decision in your life, but with a little dignity, because you need a minivan and a little extra space, but you also want something that looks nice, doesn't break the bank, and has lots of features. And that's what Kia says that we have here. And if this is what you're going for, I'm glad that you haven't given up on life. I appreciate that. So let's take a look at the facts, feels, and final thoughts of the KIA Carnival. We'll give you as many facts as we can up front, test out how they feel, and as always, lead you to your final thoughts. And if you are a subscriber, well, you are a fellow neutral reviewer, so please leave your short review in the comments below. So let's take a look. Okay, so before we get going, let's just give you some quick facts as we know them up front here. So starting up front, I really like this grille. I really like how they've hidden the high beams inside that grille, and the grille looks modern with that little chrome and squares and everything, and the slim lights looks really, really neat. And even on the back, you have that LED light bar in the back, looks really cool, but it's a little bit strange because they've had to put the turn signals in the bumper. I don't know why it just isn't the light bar, but anyway, it does look pretty cool. And then again, not that we talk a lot about styling, especially in a minivan, but that's kind of the point of this, is it does look pretty good. As you can see from the side profile, it's kind of boxy and utilitarian looking, yet still kind of sporty and elegant, especially with that metal looking accent on the side. Yeah, I really, really like this. And when we talk about up front, well, what's underneath the hood? Well, it does use its 3.5 liter 6-cylinder engine with dual overhead cams, direct injection, and variable valve timing, which is capable of producing 290 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque, which is capable of rocketing this large family hauler, which you probably don't care about unless you're looking to get away from somewhere quickly. 0 to 60 in around 7 seconds, which isn't too bad actually, and it actually handles pretty well, about 0.82 on the skid pad, and brakes even better than an electric car because it weighs around 4,600 pounds, which isn't too bad nowadays, especially for something like this. Uses normal suspension, strut front, independent rear, multi-link, which is nice, good for hauling things and packaging, and you can tow up to 3,500 pounds with your Carnival, so you can take a Carnival with you back there, which is the equivalent to one of these active urban lifestyles hanging off the back of your minivan. What else to talk about performance-wise? I think that's about it. All right, now that we're at the back, let's do our dancing here. Oh, it's terrible. I'm a terrible dancer, always have been, and it does not look like this has a kick sensor. But it does have a power lift gate at this price point, which is nice, and it also has power sliding doors, which we'll see in a second. So this is nice here. Lots and lots of space. Obviously, this is a minivan, so we're going to give you a peek with our comment cam here. And as you can see, you do have split seats, and you do have a lot of room here. I've got the split so you can see the difference. And look at this big hole down here. You could actually bathe a moose baby, possibly, or a normal baby. But yeah, no, you got all kinds of space when that seat is up. You can see in the screen there, you've got tons and tons of space in any configuration. But even with those back seats up, you do have a lot. But what if you want to put them down? Well, you grab this handle here, and they fold nice and flat. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Yeah, and to get them back up, it is about that simple. You just pull like so, and voila. You've got your seat raised, so that's nice. What else back here that we want to look at? Okay, you do have 2 power outlets. So you've got a normal, conventional power outlet here. So you can do coolers, mattresses, things like that. And you do have your 12-volt there as well. But yeah, all in all, you've got tons and tons of space. You got more than you could possibly need. We're not even going to do our hockey stick test because, let's be honest, that's what this thing is for. It's a hockey hauler. But let's go and see how it is for those hockey players in the middle. And coming to the middle of the Carnival, and as we said, on the SX you have dual sliding doors, power on both sides. And one of the things I forgot to mention was, not only is that a power tailgate, it actually is automatic. So as you can see, if you have your hands full with your Moose Baby stuff, you can walk away without having to put it down or reach up, which makes up for not having that kick sensor, which is pretty handy. So how is this to get in as a full-grown spry adult? Well, I'm only 5'7" and 150 pounds, so it's not too bad to get into. But one of the things that to mention with the SX version here, it's your top level trim. So they have these fancy captain's chairs. Now they have pros and cons to them depending on what you're using the van for and the people you're putting in the middle. So let's start with this. So if you're putting kids back here, it can be a bit of a challenge. What I mean kids back here, not necessarily in the seat, because it has an advantage of keeping them away from each other. So what you can do here is you can move these side to side. So, you know, if they're need a little extra reach to get out of that distance, you're to know their distance, get out of that dangerous spot there, they can do that and keep it separated. Or as well, if you're the one that has to go and take care of the Moose Babies in the back, normally the minivans, the seats flip forward to make it a lot easier to get back there. But with this one, you're gonna have to negotiate your way through a path that you can create in the middle here. But what the seat is good for is for adults and or for older kids. Reason being is, as we said, you got a lot of adjustment, but one of the nice things here is if I can figure out how to do it. Yeah, look at that. It is nap time, everybody. We will see you after the commercial break. Oh, yeah. No, so that is actually nice. There is a lot of luxury features on here. Ooh, look at that, it extends. Oh, we might be here for a while. Ooh. All right, so one of the things to talk about while we're back here and nice and comfortable is with the SX package, you do have the upgraded from that LX Plus, the tri-zone air conditioning or heating and ventilation, which is nice as well. Now they do have their own controls up there for whoever sits back here, which is nice. Now this middle console here I really like as well because you have two plugs or styles of plugs. You have your normal plug like we had in the back, so you can plug some heavy duty stuff in, and you do have your 12 volt there. This is access to the cup holders for the middle folks as well. You do have some nice storage there. You do have USBs on both the front seats for the middle passengers, and you do have these convenient buttons here that you can help move the seats to give a little bit more room for those middle folks as well. What else to talk about here? Map pocket, all that type of stuff. It is a minivan back here, and you do have these convenient buttons to help get out as well. So as we said, for a third row, you do have a decent amount of space back there, as you can see. Not the most convenient to get in, but yeah, not very often do you have probably adults back there, and you probably lost the paper, scissors, rocks if you are. So it's not the worst in the world. Definitely, you do have little port windows, which I like back here as well. And the seats are firm, but fairly comfortable. And you do have a fair amount of leg room, head room, and everything else back there. And you do have vents because they want you to breathe to take care of those Moose Babies. And you do have some decent visibility as well back here, both in the greenhouse space and just so you don't get barfy. I was that one that you had to hose down the ride for and the minivan. I was a real treat. So as you can see, you do have some pretty decent visibility back here. And with these captain's chairs being able to raise up, it is kind of like theater seating. So let's go to where the real theater is in the minivan, where you can hide from the kids up front. Here we go. All right, coming to the front of the Carnival, and a Carnival it is in here. Look at these screens. Look at all the theatrics in here. It is really nice. Kia is very good at giving you a lot of nice looking materials where it's important in your eye line, and a lot of nice features that actually work pretty good. Now, that's what I want to talk about up here, because if you are a parent, there is some pretty cool stuff up here. I mean, we're not going to go in depth. You know, this is a vehicle like any other. You got power this, power that. You've got 2 levels of memory over here, which is nice. Telescopic steering, tilting. You've got enough storage. Like, I mean, you could put sandwiches and crock pots and you name it in here. Look at the size of this. Like, how many owner's manuals do you need for this thing? Look at that. That's incredible. Anyway, So as we said, door pockets, cup holders everywhere. There's storage. I mean, we could go on for days, but what I want to do is show you some of the really cool things that this can do. So let's go here. And it does work pretty good here. Get our comment cam out. So it's pretty responsive and intuitive and everything else like that. So touchscreen, obviously. So we'll come back here to the main menu. So this is exciting because watch this. This is what I wish that I had. Well, maybe not, because I wouldn't want my parents to use it on me. But if I was a parent back in the day, like, this is amazing. Check this out. Passenger talk. I tell you what this is all about. Hit this thing right here, passenger talk. And what you can do is amplify your voice through the speakers. Be quiet, Moose. Right? Nice. And what else you can do similarly, we'll go back to home, is we will go back to, where is it? Spy mode, basically. Kia, CIA. Here we go. Passenger view, there it is. Check this out. I have no passengers. Moose, where'd you go? Oh boy, don't tell Mom. Anyway, it is nice. So the idea is you can keep an eye on your kids, especially depending on what kind of car seats they have. If they're getting themselves all kinds of trouble, make sure they're breathing, things like that. And it's really, really cool and convenient. What else on here? Absolutely, this price point, you've got your navigation. That works pretty good, like any other. And when we come over here, and of course, media and everything else like that. It does come with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, even on the base LX. But something like this, you're going to get wireless charging, wireless Apple CarPlay, and you name it, everything else like that. But what I want to talk about is this nice digital gauge cluster here as well. It does have a few different drive modes. I mean, do you really need drive modes in your minivan? Maybe. So you've got sport, eco, smart, and normal. I would imagine you probably leave it in eco unless you're really wanting to do that acceleration, Grand Prix acceleration that we like to do and test sometimes. But yeah, no, all in all, you know, like I said, you've got anything and everything you could ever imagine under the sun here for storage, everything else like that. Everything else seems to be really working well. And that is the point of a vehicle like this. That is the point. Everything works. Everything is convenient. It's just a minivan. But the nice thing with the Kia, and what we'll see when we take it out for a ride, it is a nice compromise. You're going to get all that practicality that you need, but it does drive pretty good, and it does look good as well. So let's take this thing for a final drive. All right, here we go. Okay, and we're on the road in this thing. So first thing we want to talk about is price and competition. So it starts off with an LX, and you can get all the way up to an SX. Now it starts off around $39,000 Canadian plus fees and taxes, and you get all the way up to well over $50,000 for something like this. But $50,000 is actually the average price for a Canadian vehicle, scary enough nowadays. And when you look at what you get at this price point in the SX, you do get quite a bit. Really, the only things that you're missing are more mechanical. You're missing a all-wheel drive as well as hybrid system. So with that being so, you know, do you actually need those things? I don't know. I do live in Canada. We do have Canadian winters. I often daydream about buying an all-wheel drive, but really I've never been stuck. And I have a little BRZ. So, you know, for the most part, you can get by. Now, the hybrid is nice, don't get me wrong, but if you're not doing a lot of driving and this being a bigger vehicle, you're probably going to suck the fuel back even with the hybrid in reality. But you're probably, if you are looking for something like that, your competition would be the Chrysler Pacifica or the Toyota Sienna. Of course, you've got the Honda Odyssey and the Dodge Caravan, things like that. But realistically, those are two very popular vans with both those other options that we just mentioned, that being the hybrid and the all-wheel drive. Now, what else to talk about? How does it feel? Well, you know, just sitting here, it actually feels like what I remember a minivan being. And more importantly than that, is bringing me back to a real happy place. It's bringing me back to the 90s and early 2000s. And not just because I spent some time in some minivans going to hockey tournaments and things like that, but because this powertrain, I don't know, it seems like it's from way back then. This 8-speed automatic, just the way it sounds, the way it feels, the engine. We'll give it some gusto here in a second, so watch. That sounds just like the vehicles that I grew up with. It really does. It really does take me back. But that power, like back, a decade or so ago, it takes a second to kick in, but when it does, you got dad power, as they say in the straight pipes. This has got lots of power with the 3.5 liter, and that was one of the things with this, the Kia decision is because you can tow with this vehicle. You are going to probably load it up, so you do want to get some gusto. Hold on, boss! Woo! I wouldn't call that a 0 to 60, but it does have, it does have some gusto to get around things, absolutely. What else to talk about? Well, when you're talking about handling and things like that, I know much people actually care because it's not a race car. Squealing the tires. No LSD on this, obviously. But yeah, you got all the power that you need in this thing to get you and the kids going. But yeah, handling, well, it's a minivan. Woo, it's a little boatish, but that's part of the charm. Definitely does not seem dangerous by any means, but this is why you have a vehicle like this. You got tons of visibility. I can really sit up on my perch here if I want. I can be like my friend's mom, who sits real close to that steering wheel, which is probably not a good idea with the airbags. Pop, pop. No, thank you. So we'll put this back in a normal spot. But yeah, I mean, you've got all different kinds. There's cup holders everywhere, spots to put stuff. I can see, like I said, I can yell at the kids. I can see what's going on. I really do like this thing, absolutely. But yeah, these seats, they feel firm, but not too firm, enough to keep you awake so you don't go off the road, things like that. But yeah, not punishing by any means. And those seats back there, same thing for the kids. Keeps them nice and alert, but easy to clean up here as well with the leather. As well, again, at this SX package, you get all kinds of stuff. It actually has heated steering wheel, heated seats, and ventilated seats. That's like a luxury car thing a few years ago, not that long ago. And of course, you got plug-ins, all that kind of stuff. But I do like that they've kept hard buttons on the steering wheel, and it's not a bad looking steering wheel, and it's got some adjustment on it. And I do like these nice screens, like we said. And one of the things that I really like with these screens is Honda Kia thing. I think everyone should do this. Kind of like how everyone has backup cameras now, and I hope everyone goes to front camera soon. Well, this is nice. So if I turn on the blinker, as you can see in the B-roll there, it gives you your blind spot right here in the dash. So I can, instead of looking over the mirrors, which is still a good idea, I can see right there, which is a really nice feature. Absolutely. Oh, okay, we're gonna go over some train tracks, and how is it? Well, didn't rattle the teeth and spill too many juice boxes back there, so that's not too bad. Yeah, this vehicle is super compliant, super comfortable, super quiet when there's no kids. So yeah, no, it works really good. And when we talk about quietness, one of the nice things is, as well, is it does have a feature on here where you can silence all the speakers in the back and still listen to what you want silently, or at a low volume up here, which is really nice. But yeah, no, it's a nice place to be. It really is. Like I said, if you got to this point into your life and you don't want to totally give up and be like the person that wears, like the gray jogging pants everywhere. I work from home a lot, so that's kind of a thing now, but I still try to upgrade to some fancy jogging pants. That's kind of what this is in a nutshell. It's your work at home pants, but they're the nice ones. Your Lululemon, or I don't know what manly pants would be, but nice ones. Maybe some stretchy jeans for guys. But all in all, it is just that. You're not giving up, but you still want that practicality and something nice and some features. And nowadays, something that totally doesn't break the bank, which leads me to my final thoughts. Now, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and check out one of our other People Hauler reviews so we can get more cool cars like this one and our upcoming review. Now, we started off this review by looking to give you as many facts as we could up front, test out how they feel, and as always, lead you to your final thought. And we said if you were a subscriber, well, that meant you were a fellow neutral reviewer, and to please leave your short review in the comments below. And here are the facts and feels that we use to come up with your final thought. Which is, if you really are in the market for a new minivan, you need some more practicality, but you're not ready to give up yet, and you want to do it with a little bit of dignity. You want something that looks nice, is a decent price point, and has lots of features. Well, I don't think that you can go wrong with the Kia Carnival. No, it does not have a hybrid option like the Sienna and the Pacifica or all-wheel drive, but realistically on a vehicle like this, and depending on how much you're driving, there's not going to be a ton of fuel savings necessarily with that hybrid. And realistically, how many times do you actually need all-wheel drive? Probably not that much. It's nice to have, but again, with this vehicle having such much more of an attractive price point, I really don't think that you can go wrong. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again next time.